hello YouTube. Hot on the heels of this week's Perfect Origin episode, we are taking a look at Atlantis. He's just like a fun little archerfish aquatic Trojan man, right? And Atlantis is, he's kind of unique in this game. Is he good or bad? We'll save that for later. But let me start by saying this. I think one of the more notable things about Atlantis, and you might see this a lot if you go look at older guides, older comments about Atlantis, I'm guilty of this myself, I think, is that we call him kind of like a zoner. Because he has one of the only meterless fireballs in the game. 4-4A is this meterless fireball. He goes water a ball. It just like goes like this fireball that goes not quite full screen, but pretty far. It heavy stuns on hit, and that's pretty cool, right? And it's basically the only, if I remember correctly, the only like meterless real fireball, if you don't count like weird side cases like Junkman's Needle Wall being like a fireball technically. This is like the only actual meterless fireball in the game, which is not pretty neat, right? That's something that a lot of characters don't really have. It's a pretty unique thing that only to Atlantis. And so I think because of that, earlier on, oftentimes we say that Atlantis is a zoner because look, he has like a meterless fireball. Like most characters like don't really have that, right? But then that becomes a problem when you quickly realize that fireballs are pretty bad. You might have heard that in a lot of 3D games, fireballs are pretty rough because you can just like sidestep them. That's still true in this game. And additionally, just like in Street Fighter 3, fireballs are also bad because you can parry them. So this is doubly true where fireballs aren't typically very good and neutral in this game because you can both stab them and you can parry them, so just overall not really great tools. However, that said, even with Atlantis' fireball, you might even say that you might not even want to bother parrying it because here, let me just set the opponent's life to be normal and stuff like that. His fireball does very little damage. If you see there, it does 13 points of damage, which is very low. And to make things worse, pay attention to Kinnikuman's meter as I hit him with fireballs. That's right. Each fireball hit only does 13 damage, which is very low, because it's getting like 10-25 health, right? But it builds 4/5 of a full bar every time it hits. So, honestly, oftentimes you might just go, let me just get hit by this because it just gives me free meter, basically, right? And that's definitely not good for Atlantis. This fireball is also such that if you use it from a range, you can't really combo up of it. You basically have to like use it very specifically at like certain ranges where maybe you can get like a run-up attack or like that, which is still very iffy. Probably like from like this range, maybe you can still get it, right? And maybe like at the corner, you might be able to get a combo from it, but you know, if you're using a fireball from like this range, it kind of defeats the purpose, right? And also with point blank because it's not from like on top of Atlantis. So you know, that's kind of iffy. I don't even know if there's like a real combo, but that was really iffy, right? So it's something that you can generally only combo out of if you hit it in like specific spacings, and you want to combo out of it because if you hit it from full screen without a combo, you're just giving them free meter while doing barely any damage. You basically have to use that at a range where you might be able to get a combo out of it, which makes it a lot more specific, a lot harder to use, right? So that's definitely not ideal for a fireball. So it's actually kind of a bait. It's honestly like not really a move you really want to use very frequently, if at all. He does actually have another fireball, 6-6S, which is Water Magnum. You actually saw that a bit in, if not this week's episode, like when he first showed up back in like episode like 4 or so. Back in episode 4, you just saw like this fireball. This one is better, you know. It actually like knocks down. It hits multiple times. Well, it's a tech rollable knockdown, but it kind of knocks down. It does multiple times. It's a lot faster than Water Ball. It goes further too. But it has like the same problems where you know you can still parry it, you can still like sidestep it, so it's like not amazing in that regard. And because of the knockdown being like a tech rollable like that, you definitely don't get any combos out of it, right? You don't get any combos out of it the same way you sometimes do from Water Ball. Maybe in like certain situations where like they're in the corner, you might be able to pick up off of that into like a juggle. but that's really situational. There we go. It's very specific, as you can just tell, right? You have to like if it hits like very specifically at like the ropes, you might be able to juggle off, which is not something you can really rely on. So yeah, that's his two fire like that Atlantis like two fireballs, which are both not very good. So if Atlantis like is not actually a zoner because his fireballs are not good, then what is he? Well, the answer is kind of just he's just not very good. I'm sorry that we're just doing this back to back, where I think like the last 2 or 3 videos have just been, yeah, this Devil Trojan is kind of bad, and Atlantis is continuing that streak. Don't worry, this is the last streak. I promise. This is the last video in the series that will be like, oh, this is just kind of bad. Trust. So bear with us. So yeah, if you look at it from an angle of Atlantis as like this bad zoner, it doesn't really work out very well, right? So let's ignore that for a second. Let's ignore that Atlantis like supposed to be a zoner or whatever, and see like what does he does have. And it's actually like he does have some good stuff. Like this jab is like one of the fastest jabs in this game. It's technically like 9-frame startup, which is insane, and because most jabs in this game are like 11, 12, even 13-frame startup. This is a 9-frame jab, although it generally only hits them on like frame 10 or so. And that's really fast. That's really good. But it does really low damage, right? This is a 13 damage jab. It has natural combos, like this is like a natural string, but this whole string is only 52 damage, while it leaves Atlantis +0 on hit. If he does like this string, he's only 0 on hit. And that's not good. That's definitely like not ideal, right? It's not like really decent, like scrambles, right? That just having like this button that hits on frame 9 or 10, still really good. It doesn't really get like a lot of reward out of it. It's still further cancelable, so you can go for like gimmicks like doing this into like a throw, for example, but these are kind of not guaranteed, right? The only part that is guaranteed is like this initial string. So that's kind of not ideal. Besides that, he doesn't have a lot of amazing buttons. Like his slide is pretty minus on hit. That's like slides tend to be. He has like a one-lining A, which is that's really good. He can combo off of that pretty easily. But like most one-lining A's, is really linear. That's what's some OTG with that, which is like pretty decent. And this like other move like is also pretty good. It's pretty fast. Like it's cancelable, so it combos with like a throw, for example. That's really decent. And so he does have like some good key moves, but for the most part, despite decent frame data, they're just like not very high reward. So he kind of had like an uphill battle. Atlantis is actually like a damage rating 13 character, much like higher than the last 3 that we've seen. Tekase, Black Hole, Comment. His damage rating is higher, but his kind of lack of combos and just generally low damage hits means that he still doesn't really do noticeably more damage like those characters. He has a juggle and even has an air throw, which is like, that's something good, but even then, his juggles still aren't very damaging, so you don't really want to go for them very often. But yeah, overall, it's kind of like once you take away the fact that he's supposed to be a quote-unquote zoner, this ends up being like this pretty like unremarkable, kind of fairly mediocre character, where he just, has a couple really good frame data on his strings, but just very low reward, which is kind of a struggle in this game. It's also really frustrating that doesn't really have really very good throws. He technically has like some really good OTGs between his 4A, his 2A, his 8A is like really slow, so not so much that one. His 5S is a really good OTG, for example, but not a lot of his throws can guarantee that. His like 5T, that doesn't guarantee 5S, right? Like you use him super far away. The only throws that he has that guarantees like 5S is basically like his rope bounce throw. You can do like a medium stun throw, and that guarantees like the 5S OTG, and that's actually pretty decent. He has like a rope throw that also guarantees 5S. That's also pretty nice. But most of like his regular throws, right? He only has 2 like neutral throws, which is like his 5T and his 6T, both of which do not guarantee the 5S OTG. He even has a special throw that also doesn't guarantee it, which is really frustrating because that basically means he doesn't get that much damage off of this, right? It's still more damage than doing like medium stun throw into a 5S if you just do like the special throw by itself, but the damage is like the difference isn't huge, so it makes like a special throw like a lot worse in practice than like it should be, oftentimes. I think he might still get like not that move, my bad, I'm putting it wrong. I think off of this, he still gets like a 4 AOTG, if I'm not mistaken. Not even. Never mind. So yeah. And so that's kind of like the issue with Black Hole. It just kind of has some okay tools that you can't really make full use of. Buttons that are like very, good startup, but poor reward. We'll talk about him like special moves, because Black Hole only has 4 special moves, which is like the lowest in the game. You can kind of like just talk all about them, right? You've already seen Water Magnum, so I won't talk about that more too much. His special throw is just a special throw that I've talked about, which just isn't very good because the damage isn't incredible and like he doesn't get any OTGs off of it. That's like not great. He has like this kind of like weird launcher. It's kind of like just like a meter launcher, and he just like juggle off of it. With the 7-frame launcher too, yeah. Not ideal, not ideal. I'm kind of bad at juggling off of that launcher, so like let's move on. You can cancel it before it's active, which is kind of cute. So you can do stuff like this, or you can do like that into like a throw. That's kind of cute, but more of a gimmick than any like real thing that you want to do. But it's something, I guess. There you go. So then his best special move probably is his 5-bet, which is like just like this little claw attack, right? This is just like a pretty decent heavy stun move. You can combo into it from like a few stuff, I guess. But its main use is as an OTG, as you saw earlier, such as off of like this rope throw. You can get it as an OTG. That's kind of cute. Probably the more popular use of this move, which you might have already seen before if you've seen this character being played in this game, is that it's one of the easiest red KKD combos. Let me demonstrate here. If you when Atlantis like I said in red through KKD, you can kind of just match 5 into itself, and that will do like this really easy, kind of janky looking, but kind of real combo. It's a bit janky and it doesn't always work, but you can kind of do stuff like that, right? So yeah, like sometimes like they fall out, but if they don't and you can kind of hit them like just right, it's a pretty decent combo. And you can even do something like more specific, like this, and then combo into like that, into like juggle sometimes, but like that's kind of difficult. But you can do stuff like that, and that's like pretty neat. So, but that's about it though. There isn't much else to say. That's kind of, I think I've basically covered this whole character. He just doesn't have a lot going on, and the stuff that you wish were good, the fireballs, just aren't, right? Black Hole, it feels like it's meant to be designed to be like this kind of, zoner style character, but that part doesn't really work out. So what's left for him is just this kind of mediocre character with decent frame data on some moves, but just overall way too bad of a damage and stuff that just like doesn't really work enough, I guess. So that's kind of Black Hole. I'll leave you off with like this his super. He does have like 2 super. So one of them being like the Atlantis driver, which is honestly pretty cool. Doesn't guarantee any OTGs. Wait, no. It guarantees 2-way, I believe. So that's like not awful, I guess. But it is like a strike super, so that by itself only makes it like a lot worse. But that's kind of Atlantis, really. I think like that's basically like the whole character. I would say he's still more unique than Black Hole, because bad as they are, you can still do this. But I think overall in the Japanese tier list, like they place him even lower than Black Hole. So that's not a great vouch of confidence, I know. But I think I'll probably say the same thing I said for Black Hole, that if you really like Atlantis, I know he got like a really nice spotlight in this season, which the same can be said for like Comment, for example. There is something here, right? There is something here to play. It's not great. Same goes with Black Hole. You probably don't want to like main him if you're trying to like be competitive in this game, but he does have some cool stuff. So if the character interests you, if you find him kind of neat, give him a shot. You might enjoy him quite a bit. But yeah, just keep your expectations in check, because that is the character. This has been kind of depressing again. Like I said, this is like a kind of like a depressing streak of characters. Unfortunately, as you might have clued upon, the Devil Trojans are generally kind of a mixed bag. Most of them being like pretty low tier. Though there are some elephants in the room when it comes to like the Devil Trojans, which we'll hopefully get through more. Unfortunately, we won't get through all of the Devil Trojans like this current season, but we'll get through them throughout like the next score, for sure. But there is still one more Devil Trojan this season, which is kind of a specter that hangs above this game. So look forward to that, I guess. And those who know who I'm talking about, they know who I'm talking about. But we won't get to him yet next week. I believe we should be getting into Kinnikuman fight next week. Actually, again, quick disclosure: I don't really know. I record this like in advance before like the anime episodes come out, so I don't really know how far we've gotten like in the anime. I know that this week will be Atlantis' fight, but I don't know if we're covering the entire fight like this week, or if that will bleed into like next week. I'm not sure, but small spoilers, I guess. The next fight we'll take a look at Atlantis is Kinnikuman's fight. So, if you're interested to like learn what our hero has going on, look forward to like that video next week or the week after if Atlantis video like runs late. I guess we'll see.